POV, you're a watered-down Keemstar that, after an unspecified incident, loses his job as a nationally syndicated radio host in the 80s and gets relegated to hiding on a late-night radio show on 189.16 KFAM. But barely a week into your new job, you and your producer Peggy Chats-a-Lot become 911 operators for the night while the cops are incapacitated. Serial killer called the Whistling Man lurks around the town trying to kill its citizens while you try to save these callers' lives to the best of your ability, all while staying on the air. That's literally the game. Like, that's the whole premise of the game. It's not a POV. I don't know why I said that. That's just the game. Welcome to Killer Frequency, a game that might be starting a streak for Team 17 of publishing games that try weird things and have it pay off for them. First, it was Dredge pioneering the horror fishing genre, and now Killer Frequency is pioneering the call-in radio show with a serial killer genre. Do I have problems with the game? Sure. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not as rock solid as Dredge, but I want to give praise where it's due. Killer Frequency started its life as a freeware a couple years back, and this version, developed in-house by Team 17, is solid. Please, if anyone at Team 17 actually watches this, do not stop publishing weird shit. We need more people taking risks like you, and even if there's a flop here and there, you are doing the right thing taking chances. An example of these chances they're taking? Well, they let you get people fucking murdered in this game.
Son of a bitch! I told you to...
First things first, I personally have problems paying attention to everything all of the time. So at one point there was a caller that said where he was in the town, and when I had to send help his way, I sent it to the wrong place, and he got shanked like 5 seconds after calling me. Much like real 911 operator calls, there's a lot on the line, and it's important to get and retain as much info as you can to help people out. The game's story also taps into this really weird phenomena that happens even today, where in the game, the killer and radio show are codependent on one another for effectiveness. No one would be scared of a killer on the loose because it's the 80s, and without this call-in radio show, no one would even know what was happening. And without the Whistling Man killing people, no one would be listening to the show in the first place. You see this all the time now, where mass murderers, serial killers, and genuine freaks of nature thrive off getting the spotlight on news networks. And the news networks wouldn't survive without the gore and dramatization of every little thing. If it bleeds, it leads, you know? As far as the actual gameplay goes in Killer Frequency, it should be noted that a lot of it boils down to active listening and making a choice on a timer. It isn't just a visual novel with extra steps. I think that's reductive, but don't go expecting a multi-tiered upgrade system for your DJ skills. You do get to wander around the radio station a bit to help problem solve for certain callers and fuck around with everything on your desk, but this kind of crops up one of the problems I have with the game. This game reminds me a lot of Firewatch, and when I played that game, I remember feeling distinctly free to do whatever I pleased, and then compelled to do what was being asked of me moment to moment. It felt like there was danger and intrigue, and while it ultimately doesn't amount to anything insane in Firewatch, somehow in Killer Frequency, a game with a fucking serial killer actively murdering people, I felt significantly less urgency to do what was asked of me, while simultaneously getting the vibe that I was very much on rails. I don't expect to be able to just fuck off and leave, and there are set times when you're allowed to explore, but the game goes out of its way to hold you in place a lot, both narratively and mechanically. Chalk it up to writing or simple game design, but I kind of felt very often that there was a noticeable set of guiding hands from the developer keeping me on the track that they wanted me on. I'm totally down for the developers curating the experience that they want in a narratively driven game, but it was just a little bit heavy-handed here. On the flip side, I do think a lot of the writing is really enjoyable, and while it's not a perfect 10 out of 10 from IGN, the game is very fun, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If you get people killed, you can choose to make puns out of the way they died, which, speaking of puns, every fucking thing in this game is a murder-themed pun. Like, everything in this game. The businesses, the characters, the records, the tapes. you will get to a point where you're reading the name of something and then the pun clicks halfway through the sentence and you go, God damn it, they got me again. But it's not a bad thing. And honestly, it's kind of an impressive feat. Now, realism isn't exactly something I care about in games, but I just have to bring up this plot hole because it was bugging the fuck out of me the whole game. Forrest Nash, the main character you play as with the douchiest name on the planet and a personality to match, spends a lot of the time during the game mocking the killer on his radio show. And while it does kinda eventually get explained, I just found it wild that he spent so much narrative time taunting a killer in a tiny town with his location being very well known and his radio show being based out of a building with glass front doors. What's stopping the whistling man from whistling your Dixie, Forrest? That was a bad one. I'm sorry. I blame the version of me that wrote that joke in the script a couple nights ago. Music is solid but unassuming for a game about being a DJ, but I gotta tip my hat to the devs for ensuring that it was all original music that would avoid getting content creators DMCA spanked. Especially with all the shit going on with Twitch making themselves the most anti-creator platform out there lately, the last thing we all need to deal with is copyright strikes. Now, the characters that call in looking for the police and getting the dickhead disc jockey instead are all pretty distinct and entertaining. And I cannot say this enough, I am so glad that game devs are getting the green light to shell out for good voice actors because holy shit does it make a difference. All of them are fantastically voiced.
It's okay. You were so brave earlier. You're safe now.
It's Porty's Pizza! The best and only pizza place in town! Come on down and get yourself a cracking deal on our 2-for-1.
God damn it, Ponty, no! No free ads!
The writing team did a good enough job using maps and props as well as just solid descriptive language to set each scene. Even though you're just sitting in a booth at a radio station, you really get the gist of where they are and what the obstacles are to them escaping the whistling man. There's a solid mystery underneath the stabbing, and I really liked how they managed to convey small town vibes without the hokey little yuck looking motherfucker saying how nice it is to live in a small town without the gosh darn Whole Foods. The game's set in the 80s, sure, but small towns haven't changed that much even now, and it felt pretty genuine. Also, Peggy, she's your producer, and the relationship between her and Forrest was what reminded me of Firewatch, I think. Faceless voice in your ear trying to keep everything together. But also, fuck Peggy. My only compliment for her would be that her ass is so nice, it's a damn shame she's gotta sit on it all the fucking time. Any and every task gets delegated to you. And I know that's necessary because we're the player, but seriously, why do I have to do everything, you goddamn son? My final note on the game that I wrote as the credits were rolling is also my final note on the game in this video, and I think it's the thing that makes me waffle on my final headcanon rating for Killer Frequency. Just a sidebar, I don't do number scores on here because numbers don't help anyone without context. The issue that I had was that I really wanted the game to react to me a little bit more. I played like a fucking sociopath. I was scoring hoops while people got stabbed and hitting the soundboard while they were trying to hide while on the phone with me, and I never got penalized or even acknowledged for my complete lack of human emotion.
To kill again. No one's safe.
I got like most of the people in game killed, and yet I still somehow got the good ending, which is wild to me. And yet at the end of it all, I did still have a good time. That's my final takeaway here. It's not a masterpiece, but Killer Frequency is a fun enough romp to spend 4 or 5 hours in. And it tries enough to be original that I gotta tip my fedora to Team 17. You guys are killing it lately, and I'm excited to see what's next. Editing Jake here, I just wanted to say quickly that Team 17 also sent me a copy of Trepang 2 while I was editing this video, and that's a modern remake of the original Fear, which is like one of my favorite first-person shooters. There are some definite faults in the game, but oh my goodness, if it isn't one of the most unabashedly fun first-person shooters I've played in such a long time. First Dredge, then Killer Frequency, and now Trepang 2. Team 17 is just absolutely killing it. I am extremely impressed with what they're choosing to publish, and I'm so excited for everything they've got coming down the line. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. All that shit helps boost my videos to new people. And also go follow me on Twitch before the platform implodes. We stream all kinds of fun shit, and I love checking out indie titles just like this one. That's all I've got for now, though. Thanks for watching.